this is where I want to get kind of this, what does this story of the Chinese construction bust mean for geopolitics? Give you a glimpse of the scale of what this means. In effect, it means the Chinese growth story is over. This is China going ex-growth. Property has been the key dimension of its outsized growth for the last 20 years. 30% roughly of the economy growing at a crazy rate, as Damo suggested, far, far more strongly than any developed economy. And it's just going to keep winding down with all of its population problems. And so this is, kind of the Michael Pettis moment, if you like, where, China's debt-charged growth is going to meet its maker, and Chinese growth is just going to slow down perpetually from here. So that means it can't really support rising living standards to the degree that it has in the past. And we're already seeing this in youth unemployment, which is now at nearly 21%, which is...
And that's reported.
And that's reported? Yes.
Yeah. So China's, there's various things about, whether they've been, underestimating their unemployment rates for years.
Yes.
But so for them to actually come out and say, 20+% of their youth is unemployed, potentially it's a lot higher than that.
So the Chinese Communist Party has known this for many years, as we intimated earlier in this presentation. We were talking about, Li Ka-ching or Li Ka-ching, I can't remember his name now. He's gone now, the former president. He was warning of this overbuilding in 2008.
Yes. At building levels that were probably slightly lower than where they are today. He was warning that it was unbalanced and they're building too much.
And Xi Jinping has always been very strong on this point as well, where he wants to move away from fixed asset investment to drive growth and towards, consumption and productivity growth, to drive incomes. China, and this is where you come back to the point where Beijing has done this deliberately. But, at this point in the development of emerging markets, you have two choices. You either liberalize further and let further control go of the economy, decentralize it, privatize the shit out of everything, boost capital efficiency, give households a go at owning stuff, and get rising incomes into the private sector, and you can continue to grow quite, reasonably quickly, much more slowly, but reasonably fast, and absorb, your excess labor. Or, you go the other way, which is repressive, and you centralize further, and you have to start to crack down on your population much harder, because you've got more unemployed, they're more restive, rising living standards aren't rising, everyone's getting the shits and getting angry with the government. And obviously in China's case, because of the nature of the CCP, they've chosen the latter path. They can't liberalize further because it would effectively be destroying themselves. And, that's not what they're about. They're about self-perpetuation. So, this is kind of a historic choice that's been coming to China for years and years. The CCP has known it, and I would argue that they actually made this choice when they elected Xi Jinping to the leadership. So it's not Xi Jinping that's driving this. He is a symptom, not a cause. He is the symptom of the choice that they had to make in the nature of their development path. And so that means what else for everybody else? And obviously it means, life's going to get tougher for the Chinese, but it also means it's going to get tougher for the rest of us, particularly Australia, because, as we've seen, you're going to see a rise of militarism and nationalism as a tool for social control in China. In other words, the legitimacy of the Communist Party will shift from prosperity to national security. And that's a political trick.
Nucleus Wealth, personalized portfolios for engaged investors.
Good old-fashioned political trick, been used many times before. And, China's well into it now. And so the more Chinese property slows, the less it can grow, the less it can provide prosperity to its people, the less legitimacy the CCP has, the more aggressive it must become. And so you can see where these factors converge at a possible trigger for a Taiwan invasion, in fact, depending on how quickly it happens, how badly the economy goes, how much it stalls. That to me is the prime trigger for invading Taiwan, nothing else. That's the main one, is that the Communist Party needs to make an excuse for itself to retain power. And of course, if it does that, I would expect, hopefully we wouldn't be silly enough to have a war over it, but I would expect for China to be effectively kicked out of the global economy, a la Russia and its invasion of Ukraine. So this is how big this construction bust is. It is massive for the global economy, for geopolitics, for Australian politics, for peace on earth and everything else.